Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. I'm Amanda Rowley. Let's get started. We start with breaking news tonight. The man wanted in the mass shooting that left 18 people dead has been found dead by law enforcement. It brings an end to a search that put the entire state of Maine on edge. Robert Card was found dead of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. Laura Hafley is in the nearby town of Lisbon with the latest.
After a more than 2-day manhunt, authorities found the body of mass shooting suspect Robert Card, the Army reservist accused of opening fire at a bowling alley and a bar on Wednesday.
I was very elated tonight when I got the call from Commissioner Sawchuk advising me of the revelation of what took place and that Mr. Card is deceased and no longer a threat to our community.
Earlier, the names of all 18 people killed in the mass shooting in Lewiston, Maine were read aloud, followed by a moment of silence for the victims. Law enforcement officials intensified the urgent search for Card, scouring miles of woods and sending dive teams with sonar to the bottom of a river. On Friday, officials lifted a shelter-in-place order that included tens of thousands of people across the county.
I don't understand.
Wendy Bell's brother, Bill Young, and his 14-year-old son, Aaron, were fatally shot inside the bowling alley.
I can't even go bowling. You can't even go have a drink at a bar or enjoy a meal with your family without fear.
Aaron's family says the teen loved to bowl and was having a lesson from his 76-year-old coach, who was also fatally shot. They were the oldest and youngest victims of the mass shooting that shocked this normally quiet state, where until this week, some residents still didn't lock their doors at night. Laura Hafley, CBS News, Lisbon, Maine.
And new details tonight in what Spokanimal is calling a severe outbreak of kennel cough at its shelter, and it's forcing staff to close its doors to the public. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk learned that's not the only challenge they're facing right now.
Tonight, staff inside Spokanimal are watching and treating 51 dogs who either have or could become infected with kennel cough.
Just a really, really bad case. So we did send testing off to WSU just to see if it was anything else. We've not gotten any results back.
Spokanimal Executive Director Dory Peck says dogs are responding to antibiotic treatments. Kennel cough can lead to pneumonia, which can be deadly.
We closed down just to be safe because we don't want people trudging through, obviously.
Closing down means pausing adoptions for the time being. It's not something Peck wants to do since the shelter is packed full. Capacity wasn't an issue a few years ago during the COVID pandemic.
Everybody was lonely or everybody had time, so everybody adopted. So our adoption numbers were fantastic, but then everybody started going back to work. And, the backyard breeders didn't quit breeding. And so then you have an overabundance of puppies that nobody's buying anymore. Nobody's adopting anymore because there's so many.
Adding to the issue, Peck says some people have been dropping off strays at Spokanimal instead of scraps, worried dogs will be euthanized.
There's just been a lot of misconception about scraps that's very, very unfair. And our animal control is so critical to our community.
Scraps told KREM 2 they will put down dogs deemed too dangerous to adopt, but never due to overcrowding. Peck says dogs taken to scraps have a better chance of being reunited with their owners.
It's very difficult to have your dog dropped off at Spokanimal, and it should be at animal control, and they're looking all over and not finding it, and then the animals, adopted out because the time is up.
Peck is aware of a rumor going around claiming Spokanimal is going to euthanize its entire population. She says that's absolutely not true. Instead, vets are doing everything they can to get dogs healthy enough for adoption.
Please choose to adopt. Please choose to support one of your local animal welfare rescues, shelters.
And we asked Spokanimal how long they plan to stay closed to the public. They told us it could be a few days or a week. It just depends on what their vet says. Reporting in Spokane, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
And now to a story that is absolutely miraculous. A mariner who went missing on a fishing vessel 2 weeks ago has been found alive. On October 12th, he and another man took off from Grays Harbor off the coast of Washington. That second man is still missing this morning. The man who was rescued was found by a Canadian fishing crew. He was on a life raft about 130 miles from Grays Harbor. This rescue comes one day after the Coast Guard called off the search. Our Seattle sister station spoke with the Coast Guard, who helped rescue the missing mariner.
When you're looking for something that's, whether it's a person like the size of a basketball, or in this case, it was a life raft, so slightly larger, it is kind of like finding a needle in a haystack.
The man says that he survived by catching salmon with fishing gear in his life raft. Today, officials there have not said if search efforts will continue for the other missing man. Well, explosions punctuate the night sky along Israel's border with Gaza as an Israeli military spokesman promises an expanding ground operation tonight. 2 U.S. officials say that announcement appears to be a rolling start to the ground invasion. Israeli soldiers conducted a targeted raid in the southern Gaza Strip overnight. That's where Navy vessels and aircraft are striking suspected Hamas military compounds. It's day 21 of this war. Meanwhile, an aid convoy from the International Committee of the Red Cross finally moved from Egypt through Rafah, crossing into Gaza.
We also have a team of specialists who are about to enter, including surgeons and other medical teams.
National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby says the U.S. would support a pause to get humanitarian aid, fuel, and electricity in Gaza. All right, let's switch gears and talk weather now with meteorologist Michelle Boss. Michelle, how's the weekend looking this coming few days?
It's looking sunny, which is great, but it's also looking very chilly, and that's evident out there right now as we take a look at temperatures across the region. Spokane, one of the warm spots at 30 degrees, but all around us temperatures are in the 20s and some even lower 20s. 23 in Sandpoint, 24 in Deer Park and Coeur d'Alene, 29 in Ritzville, and Moses Lake has dropped into the 20s as well. Lewiston, one of the warmer spots as well, but they are above freezing at 36 degrees. The clouds are starting to clear out of the region. We are done with the flurries, done with the snow, and are going to enjoy sunshine all weekend long, but the clear skies tonight means we don't have that blanket of clouds to kind of keep us a little bit warmer. So those temperatures are headed down into the lower 20s. Sunshine expected on Saturday and Sunday, but we're still going to see below average highs in the lower to mid 40s.
Now to Night Beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. The state Supreme Court heard arguments in a case that could affect thousands of DUI cases across Washington. It hinges on the technicality of a breathalyzer machine used statewide. Under state law, the calculations must be rounded to 4 decimal places. But a recent Kitsap County case was thrown out after a district court found the machine shortens the final digit rather than rounding it. This makes the results invalid. The state argues it's the law that should be amended and then reapplied to the Kitsap County case retroactively.
The toxicologist has told us since 2015 that it did the rounding, and they trained all law enforcement and technicians that it did the rounding mean, and they testify in court that it did the rounding mean, when in fact it never did.
None of these sections require that the instrument do the rounding and the plus or minus calculation. Everything that the district court decided was based on a misapprehension.
The court is expected to make a decision within the next 6 months. Idaho's transgender bathroom law will not go into effect yet. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is temporarily blocking enforcement of the new law. The court granted an injunction request while Lambda Legal looks to challenge it. The law, signed by Governor Brad Little back in March, would require public schools to maintain 2 separate bathrooms, locker rooms, and overnight accommodations based on a student's biological sex, not their gender. The law was set to take into effect next week. This new injunction stops the government from enforcing the law until the courts can review the ruling in the next few months. The West Bonner School Board officially accepted the resignation of its controversial superintendent. Brandon Durst was only hired last June, but it led to swift backlash from parents who said he was unqualified for the job. More than 30 faculty and staff members also quit in protest. Then the state stepped in and agreed Durst did not have necessary qualifications to serve as superintendent. He previously served as principal and superintendent in several North Idaho districts. He also is the state's 2016 Superintendent of the Year. That was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just head to our website, KREM.com. And again, that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you're going to get more news in less time.